This is Rabbi Chaim Jachter for the Orthodox Union's All Daf, continuing in our series on bringing Maseches Eruvin to life. And we're going to be speaking today about the concept of Gud Asik Mechitza, stretching up the wall. A very important halacha l'Moshe Sinai, tradition that we have from Sinai, from Hashem gave to Moshe Rabbeinu, that we apply in Hilchos Eruvin. And we'll see a very, very interesting application of Gud Asik Mechitza in this circumstance. Now, yesterday we showed you at this particular location that there is a Tzuras HaPesach that the community constructed using the existing communication wire from the cable company, and we added our own lechis. We showed you that in the previous video. But in reality, there is an alternative. And here's the alternative. The alternative is we could say that this structure, which says speed limit 35, actually could serve as a lechi according to many opinions. Rav Moshe Heinemann believes that you can use this speed limit 35 that you are looking at now, it could actually constitute a lechi. Why is that? Let's try to understand the logic behind it. Here's the logic behind using this item, this speed limit sign, as a lechi, as a kana mikan. Because here is the logic behind it. It's based on a Gemara and Yoma on Mem Dalet Amid Beis, as well as a tshuva of the Machzeh Avram and Chelkas Yaakov. Here's the logic. Here's you have your kana mikan, and here you have the speed limit sign is attached to it. It is strapped on. It is bolted to this item. The two items are attached. The speed limit 35 is longer than it is wider. It is not a square, it is a rectangle. It is longer than it is wider. And since it is longer than it is wider, it constitutes a continuation of this, we'll call it a lechi, with this kana mikan, which is also longer than wider. Now, if you look at where it's the speed limit sign 35, it's located underneath the wire. It appears to be clearly underneath the wire. And therefore, we can apply the concept of Gud Asik Mechitza, stretch up the wall. There is an Eruvin Yud Aleph, a machlokas recorded between Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes, whether the lechi has to extend all the way to the wire or not. We followed the opinion of Rav Nachman. It does not have to stretch all the way to the wire. It's sufficient for it to be 10 tefachim high, and this is much taller than 10 tefachim high. And therefore, if it's positioned precisely underneath the wire, it is considered to be sufficient as a lechi, for we follow Rav Nachman, who says, Einu nogea, the lechi does not have to extend all the way to the wire. It's sufficient for it to be positioned perfectly underneath it. And here the idea is that the speed limit sign is, the speed limit portion of this sign is an extension of this pole. And what's the logic? The logic is as follows. The Gemara and Yoma teaches us in Mem Dalet that if the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur used his shovel, the machta, and he used a specially elongated one, they made an attachment to the regular machta to make it easier for him to handle all the gecholim, the coals for the ketores that he's going to bring in the Kodesh Kodashim. He's weaker, he's fasting, it's Yom Kippur. You strap on an extension. The extension of the machta is longer than it is wider, and therefore, Tosu explained, it's a legitimate extension of the machta. The extension to the machta, longer than wider, like the machta is longer than wider, a legitimate extension of the machta. And similarly, what Rav Heinemann wants a paskin that the speed limit sign is considered to be, it's longer than wider, it's a legitimate extension, just like the machta of Maseches Yoma, and we can apply Gud Asik Mechitza. Well, if that's the case, it sounds wonderful. Why doesn't this community just rely on this? Well, there's this question about how exactly we're going to determine that the speed limit sign is underneath the wire. It can be difficult. It needs to be maintained every year. It needs to be checked. It can change over time, and therefore, in order to play it safe, what we do is we take this lechi and we extend it all the way up. But we would use this as a backup. The community here, the Rabbanim here, have decided we would use this as a backup in case this lechi came down. And this would be our backup to rely on in a case of emergency, in case we didn't have an alternative for the Erev for Shabbos. But we've illustrated with this the concept of Gud Asik Mechitza of Rav Nachman and Erevin Yud Aleph, and we have succeeded, Baruch Hashem, in bringing Maseches Erevin to life. And this is a project of the Orthodox Union's All Daf.